This shoe needs a little introduction because it is not mighty Mexico 66. If you ask anyone who wants to buy Onitsuka Tiger, they'll simply say they want to buy a Mexico 66, and this shoe is not Mexico 66. That's the reason I said this shoe needs a little introduction. This is Onitsuka Tiger Serrano. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly because Serrano is a Spanish word. So forgive me if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. The shoe was designed in 1970. As I said, I will start very differently in this video. I'll start comparing the shoe with the Mexico 66 directly so that you will have a proper context of this shoe, like why this shoe exists and where exactly is differ with the Mexico 66. So this shoe has two particular things which it does better than Mexico 66, especially the toe box. You might have seen a lot of users of Mexico 66 who complain about the toe box, the size of the toe box. Why? Because the design language of Mexico 66 demands a pointy toe box, where this one has a quite wider toe box compared to the Mexico 66. So you can go for a true to size. And this is coming from someone who has a little wider feet compared to the normal human beings. So you can literally go for a true to size. That's the biggest advantage. One of the biggest advantage you get with the Serrano, which is not there with the Mexico 66. Another advantage you get is a choice of materials. Because of those choices, what are those choice of materials that you will see? But because of those material choices, this shoe, Serrano, is lighter than the Mexico 66. Don't take me wrong, Mexico 66 is already a light shoe, but this one is lighter than Mexico 66. So that's another advantage you get. Then this shoe is flexible, more flexible than the Mexico 66. And these three advantages you get with Serrano, which you don't get with the Mexico 66. Since the context is set now, let's talk about the actual shoe. Let's start from the outsole. There's nothing to talk about the outsole. It's just a simple rubber. So there's nothing much to talk about the outer sole. But it does a good job in protecting you from slippery surfaces. It does a well job in that regard. But there's nothing special to talk about the outsole. It's just simple rubber. The actual magic happens here. This part, that is a midsole. If you look at the midsole, it is made from the EVA, that is for sure. So it must be coming from Essex Labs. Essex is the parent company of Mexico Tiger. So I'm sure it is coming from the Essex Labs. But you will find one interesting thing here, that this particular midsole is not evenly distributed to the front. Here you have quite a thick EVA material midsole, but you don't have it here. It literally disappears. So this part is fully covered. Okay. So when you will walk, you will understand that because of this thick midsole EVA material, you're fully covered. It gives you that cushiony feeling. Okay. But at the same time, it doesn't give that cushiony feeling at the front. I'll tell you a real life story. When I went for my recent vacation to New York, initially for 2 days I used this shoe, and I soon realized that I'm literally feeling the surface. Okay. I'm literally was feeling the floor while walking. Okay. Because there's the sole, midsole is missing here. Okay, so this shoe is not really for the long walks, because when I was walking, I clearly used to feel the floor, and then this part used to pain the front side because the midsole is not there. Now, why they made such a choice that having a midsole here but not having a midsole at the front? That is because this is a runner shoe. So they cannot really go use the same thickness of a midsole at the front. That would be very bad design choice. So that's the thing. So they cannot use that midsole. All right. So, but they do compensate that with the insole. So the insole which they are using. Okay. So insole which they are using, I guess they are using OrthoLite X-40, I guess. So it is quite cushiony, quite thick compared to the normal midsoles. So it little compensates that missing midsole. It gives you good cushioning, but it is not as great as some walking shoes which you can use. Okay. It is not as great as that, but they try to compensate it. All right. Then next, let's talk about the main part where all the magic is happening, and that is the front part. Okay, so if you look at the front, it's a proper classic design. You have Essex stripes here, this side, you have Essex stripes the other side, and the interesting choice of materials. Let's talk about the materials. The front side, you will find the front side they're using a suede leather. Amazing. It gives you it gives you that strongness compared to the normal materials. Then at the back side also, you have a suede leather. I personally like the suede leather a lot. So whichever shoe uses the suede, that obviously becomes very interesting for me. So that's an interesting choice they have made here, and it's very interesting. They use the same color. Okay, the yellow color. Then, yeah, the interesting choice actually happens on the side panels. So the side panels are made up of a nylon textile kind of a material. So that's an interesting choice. And why I say interesting choice? Because this Mexico 66 uses the leather. Okay, on both the side panels, it uses the leather. Now, it looks nice because of the using leather compared to this shoe. Obviously, it gives you that classic design language, and it's very amazing to look. Okay, but the problem with the leather, as we all know, it's not breathable. So that's one issue which you face. And compared to this shoe, it becomes quite heavy. Okay, it is not a heavier shoe, but it gives you that, it gives you less lightweight kind of a thing. So here, because of nylon, you get highly breathable. This thing is highly breathable. That is one advantage you get. Next is it becomes lightweight. And the third one is most of the shoes forces your feet to take a shape of the shoe. Okay, but because of this nylon, it's so comfortable, it hugs your feet so nicely, and it takes a shape of your feet. So that's the biggest advantage you get with this shoe. So it's highly flexible, okay, highly comfortable shoe because of this leather, because of this material choices. On the top side, simple flat laces. They use a suede leather again, simple flat laces. So if someone asked me to describe this shoe in just 2 words, I would say the design language, the classic 1970s design, and the comfort. These are the 2 things describe this shoe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.